First off, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Means a lot. Uh,
Yes, yes, of
congratulations.
course. Thank you.
Congratulations, by the way, on being a world team member. That's really exciting. We know that man, was it last year you were able to make the cadet team. This year
Yes, yes.
the juniors, U20, whatever you want to call it, I guess.
yes.
It's hard to get used to that. But first off, do you want to just kind of introduce yourself, where you're at right now, like what age you're at?
Yeah, so um I just turned 18 a couple months ago, so now I'm competing in the juniors brackets. I've been wrestling for about 9 years now, and I got started off because of my brother from wrestling, and I've just been doing it ever since. I started getting a lot better on the national scale here a couple years ago, starting with Super 32, my first Super 32 title. Then from there, I went and made the cadet world team, and I was invited to who's number one. And we went out to Worlds, which I wasn't able to get the result I wanted over there. But now I know what to expect more from international wrestling. So I'm really excited for this year's Worlds because I'll be ready.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's and man, that the team's loaded, and
Yeah, it's
a
stacked.
lot of great women on that team. Very good personalities. That should be a fun trip.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited. It's gonna
That's
come up here
awesome.
soon too. So
And also, if I remember correctly, didn't you also win a Folkstyle national tournament as well?
yes, yes. Last year I went to Iowa for the Folkstyle National. That I won that one. So
Okay, awesome. So it's been I mean, it's been a good run of success for you, which has been a lot of fun to see, a lot of fun to cover. So let's going in like right now after you come off of a big tournament like that and where you win it, what has this past couple weeks looked like for you since
um,
that?
well, since that tournament, I've just been like filling out, like there's like a bunch of things we gotta go through to make sure we can compete, like making sure you have your passport up to date, all that. So just like making sure I get all the paperwork done so there's no problems there. And now I'm just really looking at my game plan, like going in, like how I'm gonna reinvent my style in a way. I'm a big upper body wrestler and I'm trying to work more on my shots, especially like snatch singles. So that's like going to be a big focus in these next couple of practices for me because last time when I went out to Worlds, my upper body style compared with the Europeans' upper body style, it's a little different because they're really good upper body wrestlers. So I got to be ready to go out there and get into my shots. So it's something I've really been focusing on, and then I guess just making sure weight is managed because I'm gonna have to maintain the same weight for like the rest of the year and everything. So that's what I've been doing.
And talking about preparing yourself for that tournament, I know we know that you had committed to Sunkiss Kids and
Yes.
you'll be going to Arizona State. Are you training there right now or are you at a club in Colorado or what does that look like for you?
So right now I'm still in Colorado, because actually I'm finishing up high school. So I graduate this Thursday actually, and then after that I'll have more free time to be able to go back and forth between Arizona until I eventually move down there in July. And but right now I've been just training with my high school team, Pomona Wrestling, and one of my personal coaches, Isaac Danette, who flew down to trials with me. So that's my training. That's what my training is looking like right now. But I really want to get back to Arizona when I can because the training over there is phenomenal. So
Yeah, no doubt. And it's deep and a lot of amazing girls there right now,
yeah.
which is exciting to see. And even, seniors that have committed that are going to be going down there is a good group of girls.
Oh, for
So
sure.
when are finals for you? Have you had those already?
For the trials.
No, like for school.
School? Oh yeah. some of the because I was gone the whole week for trials from school because I flew out to Oklahoma to train for a while, and then I was there like for half of the week for the actual tournament. So a lot of my finals were that actual week. But since I'm a senior, finals are they're a little easier. So I was able to finish them last week, and this week has yesterday was my last day of school, and so I think finish off the year strong grades. So happy for that.
Um, what has it been like for you? You know, you mentioned you've been able to do the Super 32 and who's number one. Obviously, you were at trials. Like as a student that is obviously you still got to do the grind of your schoolwork and things like that and tests and be prepared for that. What has that been like and what has that taught you as far as like navigating your time and stuff like that?
Yes, well, it definitely hasn't been easy at times. I know during the 2020 school year with COVID and everything, it was kind of easier to focus more on training with online school. But this year I went back in person because I wanted to finish out my last ever year of high school, and it has like there's been a lot of days that I've had to miss to go out to tournaments, and I just had to be very communicative with my teachers about what I'm doing, and they're all so supportive of me, and they're like proud of what I'm doing. So they'll work with me, like send me email links, online links to things I can be doing. But it has taught me how to manage my time very well. Like in class, when people are pushing off assignments, like, oh, I'll have next week to finish this. Like, I make sure I get that done right away because I know I'm going to need that extra time to go travel or wrestle or practice or something. It's just, I guess, staying very focused. Mm.
Um, so let's go in, you know, we talked about you're going to be going down to Arizona. Would you talk a little bit about that? Like when you knew that was going to become your reality, when you decided you were going to go down to Tempe, and what was it about there that made you pull the trigger?
Yeah. So let's see. I went down there like towards the beginning of February, to go meet with Mark Perry to go do a couple practices, meet the team, see everybody down there. And when I went down, I actually had no idea of the full opportunity that I would be given. My parents came down with me, like, they've been a big part of my life. They wanted to see, like, check it out too, make sure everything would be good. So we went down, we had our first sun kiss practice, and I like met a lot of the girls. Like I already known them from like seeing them on social media, obviously looking up to them in wrestling, like really big names like Helen Morales was there. I remember Kennedy Blades was there. Just like I was kind of like starstruck at some of the people I saw in there. I was like, oh my gosh, like wow. And I know Maya Nelson was at that practice too, and she's another Colorado girl. So I was able to like, hey, like how are you? Like how are things down here? And everybody just made me feel really comfortable. That practice was one of the best practices I've ever had. Just the technique they're going over, the resources that they have available to them, and Mark Perry took me around to go see the school. We went to the ASU versus Stanford duel. So that was pretty cool to see. And we were just like going around, and then Tempe in Phoenix, it's beautiful over there. And it was kind of cold in Colorado at the time when I went on the visit. So I was like, man, I could get used to this warm weather. So I guess just everything. And then the offer I was made to go down there and be able to go to school and um, wrestle for Sunkiss, which is like one of my dream teams to be a part of. I was like, man, this is the place.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
that's really exciting. And yeah, when you look at opportunities and when you look at the staff that's available and even the girls that are down there, and like you said, weather, especially for women, there's not really it kind of a little bit of everything, and it's hard to imagine too many opportunities that can really touch that. So I think that's going to be, man, they're dynamite this year with some of the girls that they brought in. And I think you'll see that continue, and hopefully, before too long, like as a wrestling fan, we'll get to see a Sun Devil women's wrestling team down there. Would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's gonna things are building up. It's getting real exciting over there. So
Yeah, no kidding. Have you know, and you talked about you like the upper body kind of stuff, and
mhm.
we know Kaila Miracle's down there, and she very much, you know, especially Russians and things like that, is not afraid to go upper body. Have you had the opportunity to wrestle with her much at all?
Yeah, I wrestled her with her at one practice, and she was like showing me moves and stuff, and like just to be able to sit there and soak in the knowledge from all these veteran female wrestlers that are very talented, very good at what they do. Like just even like the slightest little adjustment that they tell me to make, and I just appreciate them taking the time to grow with me and go out. I was just like, wow, like I have so much to learn still, and you never want to be the best one in the room because there's always so much more room to grow. And I was just like, okay, if I come here, my wrestling game is gonna change completely. So I I'm excited to be able to train with all the senior athletes, especially Kaila and everybody down there.
Before you had mentioned a little bit about the world team last year. Was that Budapest? Is that
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
Budapest.
And so let's talk about just for a second what did you learn from that? You know, you said that you'll be more prepared. What are some things that you've learned from that trip that you can walk in when you go to Serbia, kind of with a different mindset? Will preparation be different, or what will that look like for you?
Yeah. So when I went to the world tournament, I this was my second international tournament because I went to Pan Am's in 2019. But I feel like Pan Am's and Worlds are very different from when I walked in. First of all, like this not like the actual like the stage of wrestling is much bigger. Like the arena is bigger, your brackets are bigger. It's just like wow, like this is the real deal. So I went over there not really knowing what to expect, and I was kind of nervous to be honest. And I think this time around, what I'm going to do differently with my training is really be searching up different styles of wrestling of different countries and making sure that I'm prepared to go in there with a plan. Like I know if someone's like, for example, one of my matches was against Mongolia, and I was talking to Mark Perry, and he was like, "Well, now you would know that Mongolia is very strong upper body. Like they're known for upper body wrestling over there. So when you walk into that match, you're gonna have to have a game plan. Is like, is your upper body going to be able to match their skill, or are you going to need to go in there focusing more on your shots and stuff?" So I guess just that kind of mindset of wrestling, being prepared to face off different styles with the correct technique, is going to be a big change for me. And as well, I think I'm more prepared for the just to go in there, make weight, and everything all smooth. Like I know exactly what to expect now because most world tournaments have the same schedule, like the same everything. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready. There's I'm tunnel vision on winning goals. So
Uh, just speaking on the international level, once you get over there, you know, and you're done and you have a little time over there, are you someone that tries some of the different foods, or you kind of lock into something safe, or you know what has the international experience been like? Have you been able to enjoy, you know, some of the city at all, or
oh yes, yes, I went over there, and I have to say that Budapest was is by far my favorite place that I've ever been to. It was so beautiful. I was taking pictures left and right, and I got to try some of their authentic food, and I thought it was pretty good. I'm not really a picky eater. I'll try everything, and I thought it was pretty good to me. I was like, man, I could get used to this over here, but uh, and when I was over there, they said that Budapest was the Hollywood of Europe, and I definitely agree. It was so beautiful, and I'm so excited to get the opportunity to travel more because that's like my dream in life to just travel everywhere.
yeah, and I think that's one thing that's really cool for you, for the opportunities for not only women but for the guys too. Even for some that you might not be the top person right off the bat, but you have the opportunities like Pan Am, and there's different international tournaments that are, I mean, what an opportunity to be
Yes.
able to experience that and to get to do that with other girls and guys, and get a root for them at that level too is a pretty cool experience.
Oh, yes. I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this. So,
And well, I know my family, we love our freestyle, and well, in fact, last year we tuned in. I always get up. I don't know how. There's days where I'm like, I don't know how I did that, but I
yeah,
always.
because the time change, it can be crazy with the times that we're wrestling compared to everybody over here.
And it's kind of funny because more and more, at first, the first couple of years, like with my daughter, it'd be like, I want to get up for this match or this match, and there's more and more of it. So there's certain ones she'll watch live and then she falls asleep and then we'll go like they're recorded or whatever, and
Correct.
so I'll wake her up a little early, but she never wants to know what happens, and it's so funny because usually I know,
Uh,
but it's awesome to see her freaking out. And in fact, we were able to go down to Texas last week, and
oh yeah.
that was a lot of fun for us to just get to. I mean, we've watched a lot of it, but to get to be in person and feel the environment, feel the excitement for the girls. She actually wrestled in the 10U, which
Oh,
was
that's good.
pretty
Nice.
fun. But at the same time, the first two matches she wrestled down there, she was pretty like frozen, which is not like her
Mhm.
at all. But
Oh,
I think the hype of everyone else kind of, it's like, no, that, like, you're not in a world. You don't have to worry about that. Just let it fly. And she eventually did. But at the same time, it's a really good experience to kind of,
oh, for sure.
to when she does get a little older and is wrestling in those bigger things, like she's been there. But also like it's so cool to come off the mat and have those other girls around, the Macy Kilties, Felicity
Mhm.
Taylors, even girls like yourself. In fact, there are a couple girls that came in her corner and were watching. One of the match, Kylie Welker was in the
Oh,
coach's
yeah.
corner, which it's like, and so for
Um,
her, she just that was on cloud nine. So it's cool to see that, and I think that's something that we'll probably do from here on out until, I mean, hopefully till she's 22 years old.
oh
Uh,
yeah, that'll be. And then as she does more of those tournaments, she'll get more comfortable. I know, like when I did some of my first couple national tournaments, I kind of froze up too. But she's got this. She just got to keep going. She's gonna do really good.
and it's the fun thing is too, like she really likes watching freestyle and likes doing it, but we don't have a ton of opportunities around where we're at, and so it's just like, yeah, we're gonna be there. You might as well lace them up, and that's something she wanted to do, and she was excited for. But it's just fun. It's cool to see the sport, especially for the girls, continue to grow
Oh
and
yeah.
to see that tournament become what it has. Man, some of those brackets were huge and
Hmm.
were so competitive. There was, I mean, multiple times where it's like, man, we have world medalists that are meeting in the quarters or in the semis, and national
It's crazy.
champions, like, uh, and just the younger girls are just continuing to get better and better. Like, man, someone like Ari Jimenez was just incredible, and just
Yes, she's
see those
amazing
kind of
athlete.
girls.
Amazing.
Ava Ward, same thing. Like, to see those kind of girls continue to push the sport forward and bring others with them is really cool to see. And I just hope that the rest of the country continues to see how exciting it is. And I've said it before, I think one of the things I really enjoy about the girls freestyle is just the ability to let it fly. Like, I'm just going to score the next point.
Hmm.
And sometimes they might put themselves in danger a little bit, but they're often rewarded by doing so. And I mean, and a lot of times you see those real high scoring matches, or you see a lot of comebacks just because there isn't a fear to, I'm just going to go for it. And that's been a lot of, it's been a lot of fun to see. And I appreciate girls like you that continue to pave the way, that have fought through so much adversity and things like
Thank
that.
you. Yeah.
Well, one thing I did want to ask you, you mentioned that your brother kind of got you involved in the sport and you started about, I think you said about 8, 9 years ago. Would you
Yeah.
touch a little bit on, the early journey for wrestling, like what that looked like for club? Was that more folk style? When did you get into freestyle? Those kind of things?
Yeah, so I started off because my dad would always drive me along to my brother's practices, and I'm like, well, I'm sitting here anyways, I might as well do it. And it was funny because the first year my dad would not let me do it. He's like, nope, you're not gonna wrestle. This is a boys' sport. No. And then as we went throughout the season, I would see girls at tournaments. I'd be like, look, like, see, they're doing it. I can do it too. So then I got into jujitsu over summer, and then he's like, okay, I'll let you wrestle this season, but you got to do good. If you don't do good, that's it. So I started off, and there was a couple of girls brackets, but it was mostly I was mostly in the boys brackets, and it was folk style, and I just loved it right away. So I would always go to practice, and I ended up doing pretty good at tournaments, and we just kept going from there, and then from there, we almost got like addicted to it. We were going to every single little league tournament that we could, even Saturday, Sunday. We would go both days. There was different tournaments, and we just started doing like Rocky Mountain National tournaments after that. And when I was younger, I was like a multi-sport athlete. I used to do softball, volleyball, basketball. So some days I'd have multiple practices. And eventually I decided to just stick to wrestling. And from there, that's when I started to see a big jump in growth, like doing better at national tournaments and everything. And at first, I really didn't like freestyle. I I didn't really like, I don't know what it was that didn't make me like it, but I was like, I'm a folk style wrestler. Like I don't really like freestyle. But then sophomore year, that's when I really took freestyle serious, training consistently all summer and everything. And then my junior year is where I saw the reward for all the training I had put in. And once I started competing more and got the opportunities to like go out internationally, I was like, wow, like freestyle is really where it's at. And now I really don't like folk style. I never want to do another folk style tournament again if I don't have to. But yeah.
Um, so what is it about the sport, like even growing up, that you said you were part of so many other things and you finally decided to concentrate on wrestling? What was it about wrestling that kind of made you decide like this is it, this is what I want to do?
I think for me, it was it's like you put in so much work, and you see the reward yourself if you put in work. Like let's say I was really into basketball in 8th grade, and you can put in as much work as you can, but it also depends a lot on your team. Like um and in wrestling, like you're putting in all the work. So obviously you're still part of a team, but you go out there and you compete, and it's all on you, you know. Like if you weren't being strict on yourself, like on a weight cut diet or something, if you were not doing every single sprint, like you're treating yourself out, and you're gonna see that reward directly. And then also from there, I guess just the wrestling community, you know, everyone's so like supportive, so loving. Like wrestling families, like they love wrestling and they're big on it. And I guess just the energy at tournaments and everybody wanting to help me out, I was like, man, like I love it here. I'm gonna stay in this sport. So,
That's Thank you for sharing that. That's super cool. Yeah, there is just something different about it. And I coach our high school girls team and trying to get others. And it's one of those things. It's hard to get them to step on the mat, but once they do, I mean, we've already had a couple girls that are like, no, this is what I'm doing from here on out. So
yeah.
that's exciting to get to be a part of. Uh, are there, if is there a match or two in your career that really stood out? Do you have a favorite match that you've ever been a part of?
Um, yes, actually. So I think it was my first Super 32 title in 2020 actually. That's when I went down for a training camp with my coach Jeffrey Estrada in South Carolina, and one of his daughters, Jersey Estrada. She's a pretty well-known wrestler. But that's actually she's a pretty well-known wrestler herself. You know, she's been around the sport a long time, and she's an amazing coach. And it was the semifinals match, against, was it semifinal? Yeah. No, it was actually quarterfinals match against Lily Sky. And coming into this tournament, I had moved down a weight bracket. I was supposed to be at the 136 weight, and I last minute switched down to 130s. So I went into the bracket unseeded, and a lot of people were like unsure, like oh, like how's she gonna do in this? Because my name really hadn't been out there yet for wrestling. So I went into this match, and I was losing. I was losing right away. It wasn't. I think she had got a takedown and a turn on me, and I came back to my corner. And Jersey told me to do this because she was analyzing the match. She told me to do a specific move, and when she tells me to do something, like I put full trust in her. So I went out second period, did that exact move, got my takedown, got my turns, and I came out on top and won the match by criteria actually. And
That's
then I
cool.
went on to win the rest of the tournament. So that's a match I'll forever remember. And me and Jersey always talk about that. That she's one of the reasons that I won that tournament that day. So
That's pretty cool. And it's always kind of funny for me because I can remember watching the Super 32s and you read through the storylines and stuff, and it's like, who is this girl, right? Like, and I can remember being like, man, unseated, winning it. And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, it's like, okay, that's who it was, right? And it's crazy. Like, since then, you get to be a part of two world teams, and you've won another one, and it's cool to see. I think we're seeing that more and more. Like, not, I wouldn't even say late bloomers, I would just say maybe people that hadn't had the opportunities to be exposed as
yeah.
much or whatever it may be, and then they come on the scene, it's like, holy crap. Like, and that's what I'm excited to see, because I think you're seeing more and more, and sometimes you're seeing them in the same weight class, and it's like, man, this is a gauntlet. Like, to get whoever gets through that is gonna be, it's gonna be insane. And that's, I think that's what makes me so excited to watch some of these world teams kind of continue to step out and continue to bond together, because it's like, it's getting deeper and deeper, and we'll continue to get more and more medals. And I would imagine that, there's probably other countries that the same thing is happening, but that's exciting. I love where the sport is at, especially with the women right now, and how many are getting involved, and really how much success you're seeing for uh, girls that even in the last year or two, they've only been wrestling for 2 years, 1 year, and for whatever reason the sport clicks, and they become an all-American, and that's really cool. And I think that's something that's really easy to point as you're trying to get others to come out for the sport. It's like, it's not too late for you. Like, I can show you dozens of examples in the last year of girls who have been wrestling for a year or two, that are all Americans, or a year or two, and then they go to college and they're doing awesome things. And so it's really easy to point to that, and it's just fun.
Oh
I'm
yeah, the
excited.
girls wrestling is exploding, and it's just starting. Like the potential of where everybody could be at, it's gonna be crazy to see the growth. So
Yeah, I
pretty
can't
excited.
even imagine. Like, I just think about it. Even as a coach, like, this year is fun to be a part of our first state tournament, but it gets me excited to think about when we could have full dual tournaments and stuff like that, and for the girls to get to be a part of, because duels is a whole different dynamic as well.
Oh
Like, they're so fun to be a part of, whether it's freestyle or folk style. So that'll be a lot of fun. And even like, once all the states get sanctioned, like, it's gonna be crazy, and I'm here for it, and
I
I'm
really
so excited to see your career continue to take off. I think Sunkiss is gonna be a perfect fit for you. I'm
yes,
excited
so
for you,
excited, so excited.
and I know we'll be dialed in for when you head out to Worlds in Serbia. That's going to be awesome. Do you have anything planned in between there, or?
Yeah, I think I'll be heading to Spain for the Grand Prix July 5th to get a little international warm up, and then from just training up there up until Worlds. So
Awesome. And will that be through with Sunkist?
it'll be with USA Wrestling too, but
Okay.
I'm sure Sunkist will figure out the
Yeah.
coaches down there with me. So
So how many, do you know how many girls you're going, are all of you guys going over there to Spain, or how many of you guys?
I'm not exactly sure everybody who's going. I know you have to be at least 18 to go to this tournament, so I think it depends on everyone's ages and if they're able to make it out. It's an optional warm up to Worlds, but I guess we'll see pretty soon who's all signed up.
Awesome. Well, we'll be tuned in for that too. But thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good one.
Bye. Have a good one. Bye.